Hello and welcome to Palace Weekly. I'm your host, Mark Francis. This is our weekly roundup of all the stories that happened during the week on Palace Intrigue. And if you want the expanded stories, please go back and take a listen to those daily shows. What a week to be covering the royals, between a spectacular state visit that redefined diplomatic excess, explosive new revelations about Queen Elizabeth's final days, and a royal family civil war that's moved from cold to absolutely Arctic. This week had everything: pomp, circumstance, and some seriously petty royal drama. Monday marked Prince Harry's 41st birthday, and if you thought that might bring some family unity, you clearly haven't been paying attention to this soap opera. Instead, Harry's big day became the catalyst for what can only be described as a royal meltdown of epic proportions. Richard Eden in the Daily Mail didn't mince words about King Charles' decision to meet with Harry the week before. Charles is, however, not only a father but also our monarch, and I worry that he is making a mistake by appeasing Harry after his appalling behavior towards the royal family. The criticism stung because it highlighted a fundamental truth. Charles was being pulled between his roles as father and king, and many believed he was failing at the latter. But the real bombshell came from Rob Shooter's revelation that Prince William had been completely blindsided by his father's tea and reconciliation session with Harry. According to a source close to William, he had no idea Harry was on the schedule and certainly wasn't asked for input. If William had been consulted, he would have tried to block it. That's why Charles went ahead quietly. This wasn't just a family disagreement anymore. This was the future king being deliberately excluded from major royal decisions by his own father. The implications were staggering. If William was already furious about being kept in the dark, Harry's subsequent interview with The Guardian from Ukraine was like pouring gasoline on the fire. In what can only be described as spectacularly poor timing, Harry doubled down on every criticism that had strained his family relationships in the first place. "You cannot have reconciliation before you have truth," Harry declared, seemingly oblivious to the fact that his father had just extended an olive branch. He dismissed suggestions that he'd aired dirty laundry, saying his book was a series of corrections to stories already out there. Most damaging of all, he appeared to allude to his father's mortality, saying, "The focus really has to be on my dad." Tom Sykes in The Royalist was incredulous. Incredibly, the interview appears to have been given less than 24 hours after his father broke with his other son, William, an overwhelming public opinion in the UK, and welcomed Harry to his London home for afternoon tea, breaking a 19-month estrangement. One ask from the king's side in connection with the meeting was a period of silence on the issue of the family's interpersonal relationships from Harry afterwards. The interview revealed a man who seemed fundamentally unable to read the room. While Charles had been hoping for discretion and gradual healing, Harry was back to making demands for accountability and truth, code words that had become synonymous with public embarrassment for the royal family. The fallout was swift and brutal. By Saturday, Charlotte Griffiths in the Daily Mail was reporting insider accounts that painted a picture of William at his absolute breaking point. William is back at the point where if you mentioned Prince Harry in his presence, he would throw you out of the room. This wasn't just anger. This was a fundamental shift in William's entire approach to his brother. A source explained the psychological journey. For some time now, William's anger had cooled to the point of indifference over his brother, which was healthy for his mental well-being. William had got to the stage where Harry was a non-person. He had fallen so far beneath his radar as to have disappeared from his mind altogether. It can't be good that William has gone back to the point where he would throw someone out at the very mention of Harry's name. The revelation that William had gone through all the stages of grief over his brother was particularly telling. When they first fell out, he went to Balmoral and went off his food. Just before the Oprah chat screened, he wept. Then he turned to anger, and when that stage was over, he simply compartmentalized it all and moved on. But Harry's return had reopened all those wounds, forcing William to confront the painful reality that his brother truly couldn't be trusted. Into this family chaos walked Donald Trump, whose second state visit to the UK was designed to be the most lavish diplomatic spectacle in living memory. And spectacle it was. 1,300 military personnel, 120 horses, a 41-gun salute, and enough pomp to make Versailles jealous. The day began with Marine One touching down at Windsor, where William and Kate were tasked with greeting the Trumps. William's reaction to the introductions became the week's most charming moment. As he presented his parents to the president, he simply said, "This is my dad." The casual, almost mundane nature of the introduction, as if Charles were just any parent rather than the King of England, perfectly captured William's ability to humanize even the most formal occasions. Trump, for his part, seemed dazzled by the full royal treatment. He rode in the Irish state coach with King Charles, a carriage richly adorned with gold, as one observer noted, a detail the president is famously fond of. The choreography was flawless. Carriages, military bands, bagpipes from the Scots Guards, and even enough ceremonial excess to satisfy even Trump's notorious appetite for grandeur. But it was the evening's state banquet that truly delivered the goods. Held in St. George's Hall, the dinner featured a 52-yard table set with 1,452 pieces of polished cutlery and 139 candles. The menu included Hampshire watercress panna cotta with quail egg salad and a 1945 port in tribute to the 45th and 47th president. The wine list even featured cognac from 1912, the year of Trump's mother's birth. Kate, resplendent in a gold lace gown and the lover's knot tiara, was seated beside Trump, who used his dinner speech to repeatedly call her so beautiful and so radiant and so healthy. While the comments raised eyebrows among protocol experts, they served their purpose, keeping Trump focused and complimentary throughout the evening. The contrast couldn't have been starker. While Trump praised the king for raising a remarkable son in William, notably making no mention of Charles' other son, the actual family dynamics were more fractured than they'd been in years. More palace in just a moment. The visit provided endless moments for royal watchers to dissect. Trump chose not to bow to the king, and Melania skipped the traditional curtsy. But as royal protocol experts quickly clarified, such gestures aren't actually required. What was required, however, was the kind of diplomatic theatre at which the royals excel. Kate and Melania's joint engagement with the Scouts Squirrels program at Frogmore Gardens was particularly well choreographed. Kate embraced an elegant countryside look in a forest green suede jacket, while Melania participated in activities like building a bug hotel with 4 to 6-year-olds. The symbolism was perfect, America and Britain working together with the next generation. But perhaps the most telling moment came in a candid photograph by Matt Porteous showing William and Catherine holding hands in the darkness outside Windsor Castle after the banquet. The couple had quietly defied protocol to share a private moment amid all the pageantry, a reminder that even royals need authentic connection sometimes. Tuesday brought another complication when Prince Andrew made an unexpected appearance at the Duchess of Kent's funeral. Photographers captured what can only be described as William's barely contained fury as his uncle attempted conversation. Shannon Miller in the Mirror described the scene. Prince Andrew seemed to be giggling while talking, but Prince William rubbed his nose and gave the slightest nod like he was trying to end the conversation quickly. A friend of William's told the Daily Beast it was a disgrace that Andrew had been seated directly behind William and Kate, and that William was furious at being ambushed. The photographs of a scowling William standing alongside Andrew and Charles became symbolic of the heir's frustration with his father's approach to family scandals. By week's end, the broader implications were impossible to ignore. Tina Brown dropped a bombshell in her Substack, revealing that the king is, I am told, currently less irritated with the prodigal Harry than he is with his eldest son and heir. The reason? Charles apparently sees William as not working hard enough, a perception that stings given Charles' own cancer treatment and grueling schedule. Brown's analysis was brutal. Somehow William's parenting dedication always seems couched as a tacit criticism of the king's own paternal deficiencies. With 5 confirmed family vacations in 7 months, William's work schedule paled in comparison to Charles' 175 official engagements during his cancer treatment year. The irony was rich. While Harry was being celebrated for his 4-day charm offensive, William was being criticized for prioritizing his family. Tom Sykes captured the paradox perfectly. Against William and Kate's buttoned-up image, Harry's exuberance was a reminder of how dull the heir and his wife can seem. Their rushed diary, fillers, heritage sites, and textile factories only made Harry shine brighter. Former royal butler Paul Burrell chose this week to release explosive new details about Queen Elizabeth's final days. His memoir revealed that the Queen had been diagnosed with cancer in summer 2021, shortly after Prince Philip's death, and had initially been told she might not survive past Christmas that year. "Well, that's a shame," the Queen reportedly responded, "because next year is my Platinum Jubilee year, and I'd quite like to have seen that. Can you keep me alive for that?" The revelation that she'd given up her beloved gin and tonics and endured blood transfusions to make it to her Jubilee added poignancy to Harry's apparent urgency about reconciliation. Perhaps he understood better than anyone realized just how little time was left. Burrell also revealed that Harry had sent the Queen a secret mobile phone to bypass courtiers and contact her directly after Brexit. When it arrived, she said, "What am I supposed to do with it?" The phone ended up in a drawer at Buckingham Palace alongside another device Andrew had previously sent, a perfect metaphor for the family's communication breakdown. More Palace in just a moment. While royal drama exploded across the Atlantic, Meghan was maintaining her carefully cultivated California image. Her Instagram posts marking Harry's birthday, featuring $30 rosé and perfectly styled aesthetics, felt almost surreal against the backdrop of family warfare. A neighbour's description of the Sussexes as living rather splendidly but maintaining a very controlled image seemed to capture the gulf between their new life and the chaos they'd left behind. The week also brought rumours that Jessica Mulroney, Meghan's former best friend, was planning a tell-all book that could command up to seven-figure dollar sum depending on what she is prepared to say. If true, it would represent yet another potential source of embarrassment for a family already struggling with internal divisions. By Sunday, as Harry and Meghan appeared in a Disney documentary gushing about Space Mountain and Mickey Mouse ears, the contrast with the week's earlier events was almost jarring. Here was a couple who'd traded state banquets and military honours for theme park rides and product placement, and seemed genuinely happier for it. But back in Britain, the royal family was grappling with fractures that seemed irreparable. Charles' attempt to reconcile with Harry had backfired spectacularly, alienating William and exposing the fundamental incompatibility between Harry's need for public vindication and the monarchy's requirement for private discretion. Former royal butler Paul Burrell summed up the tragedy best. Diana's wish was for Harry to support William throughout his journey to become monarch, but William's on his own now, and he's resigned to that. To him, his brother can't be trusted. The week that began with Harry's birthday ended with the royal family more divided than ever. An aging king caught between feuding sons, an heir apparent, isolated and angry, and a spare who seemed incapable of understanding that some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. As one insider put it, William originally went through all the stages of grief over his brother. He never expected to be regularly in the same postcode as his brother again like he was last week. The fact that they were, and that it went so badly, might have sealed Harry's fate forever. The monarchy had survived the week's spectacular state visit, but the cost to the family, at its heart, might prove irreparable. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and leave us a nice review if you're enjoying this show. By the way, today's our big day, Sunday. So not only do you get a Palace Intrigue episode and you get a Palace Weekly and subscribers get Deep Crown, but now we've got Crown and Controversy. We've got the Season 1 just wrapped up last week. Season 2 debuts today. You can get that episode, and if you're a subscriber, you can binge the entire season. Check out that little banner up top there on the Apple Player that says, "Listen uninterrupted." And for $4.99 a month, you'll get all these special previews, these seasons before anybody else, and you get it all commercial-free. Every single show. And that's along with thousands of others from Kelleroga Shark Media. Also, our new series, Crown and Controversy, Norway, the Royal Rebels. Check out that new series if you're a fan of Palace Intrigue. You've seen how the Norwegians are a handful as well, and we're diving into that family. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts like this one, and all the links are in the show notes. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Weekly, and good times.